Please go watch this movie. Please. Even if you've seen it already, see it again. See it for Christmas. See it with your family. See it with your brother, your sister, your boyfriend, girlfriend, grandma. Just buy a ticket and don't watch it if you don't have time. Show them the support, please. No, it's not as good as everyone says it is. It's not. It's better. This movie knows what you're here for. You're here for Spider-Man, you're here for Miles, you're here for the Spider-Verse, and yeah, they get it. And it's that level of self-awareness that I think makes this movie an instant classic. It does the exact same thing Homecoming did with Spider-Man, but it took all my gripes and nitpicks I had with that story and made it 100 times better. They had the guts to poke fun at all the reboots and reiterations of Spider-Man. They were well aware of and embraced everything iconic about the Raimi trilogy and its memes. It's so damn good to the point where I honestly can't point out any flaws for this movie. I will nitpick so I don't come off as a brain-dead fanboy. The first 10 minutes was a little off-putting. Everything was going so fast, and the animation style's frame rate and flashing lights didn't really help. But that's mainly just cause my eyes were adjusting to the frame rate. It's a really unique animation style they went with, and I think I just needed some time to process everything at first. But after that 10-minute mark, it was night and day. It's not even noticeable anymore. This movie isn't afraid to go dark. It isn't afraid to show you Spider-Man getting killed off in the first 20 minutes. It's not afraid to be funny and lighthearted in the same movie that explores themes of PTSD, mental breakdowns, grief, depression. There's a joke about puberty that they keep bringing back, and usually, I'm one of the first people to turn away from that kind of stuff. It's usually just used as an easy way to get a cheap laugh out of people, and then you forget it the next second. And at first, it is exactly that. It's just another puberty joke. But they keep bringing it back. And every single time, it's not so much that it gave itself some new meaning, but the context behind it also kept changing. And that's another thing I absolutely adored about this movie. As much as they laugh at themselves for having almost the same origin stories, their personalities, their goals, their motives, are what gives the scenes in this movie real meaning and stakes. There is a fight scene that takes place in Aunt May's house with all of the Spider-Man and the bad guys. It is one of the most tense moments I've felt in a theater in a really long time. I cared more about the emotional conflict than the actual physical stuff that was going on. Was Miles gonna get time to breathe after just finding out his uncle's truth? Was his uncle gonna find out what Miles was up to? What was he gonna do if he did? Was he gonna kill him? Was the goober gonna be safe? Was this Peter gonna die? Was Aunt May safe? There are so many different ideologies, emotions, agendas, and conflicts happening at the same time that I completely forgot that this was happening in the same movie where this is a thing.
Pig. I'm right here.
Noir is textured black and white, so his personality reflects on this by giving him a dry sense of humor. Spider-Ham is overly cartoony, so he acts real cheesy. Penny is from an anime, so you get some over-exaggerated expressions. It's the contrasts between every single one of them that makes me love this movie. And believe me when I say this, the Stan Lee cameo here is the best cameo he's ever had, ever. It's not just played off as a joke, it actually holds some real weight. It perfectly represents everything Stan Lee and his characters stood for.
It always fits. Eventually.
That's probably the best description of who Spider-Man is in 4 words. This movie doesn't make you feel like Spider-Man. It makes Spider-Man feel like you. That line they spammed in the trailers?
Remember, what makes you different?
Let's go!
Is what makes you Spider-Man.
Yeah, they don't actually say that in the movie. They show it. I don't know how they did it. I had my expectations unrealistically high after all the praise it's been getting. But they did it. They still managed to exceed it somehow. If you guys had the audacity to give Venom 800 million, could you please show some support for this too? I don't want this to be slept on by people just because it's an animated movie. It's way better than you could even imagine. The fact that they were able to pull off something as confusing and muddled as the Spider-Verse storyline and make it fit into 2 hours without any confusion is a huge achievement in it of itself. I think this is a game changer for the Spider-Man character in mainstream media. For the people who don't really like to read comics, it truly redefines Spider-Man in the best way possible. This is what the first Incredibles was to me, to the new generation. It's an instant classic, and I cannot wait to see it again. I'm giving Into the Spider-Verse an A+. I rank it probably here on the Spider-Man list. Numbers 1 and 2 are pretty much interchangeable for me. Maybe I need to sit on it more. It's definitely in my top 3 of the year, though. What else can I say? Sony really did save the best for last.